Hi, welcome to the 12th program in the Art in Arlington series. If you live in East Arlington or you travel down Mass Ave frequently, you've probably seen a house in East Arlington that looks different than any other house you've seen. It's currently painted with blue and white clouds, and it has a variety of art in the yard. At one point, it had like a train set on the second floor balcony, and it's a striking house. And you probably think that the person in that house is maybe different than other people in the neighborhood, and you would be right. And that person is Shun Yamaguchi. He's an artist, and he's done a variety of installations and sculptures and some painting of panel boxes in Arlington. And I got to meet with Shun, and we talked about a variety of things, from how he came to Arlington, how long he's been involved in art, his love for Japanese chess and Japanese street performances, and he's really a gregarious guy, and it was really a delight to talk with him. And so I think you're going to enjoy it. And as always, my goal is to give you material from which you can learn things, and I think you're going to learn a variety of things from Shun. And as always, I thank you for watching. Well, hello, Shun.
How are you?
It is so nice to finally meet the person who lives behind the most interesting facade on Mass Ave. It probably has one of the more interesting houses in Arlington. So how long have you been in Arlington?
Let me see. My kid is 19, so 18 years.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe 19, something like that.
So how did you end up in Arlington?
Let me see. I met my wife in New York City, and that's where we got married. And we were living near Woodstock, New York, and our lease was up. And then was it 9/11? Something like that. It was like anyway, we were either thinking of moving back to New York City or somewhere. We really didn't know where to move. I didn't want to really live like in Queens or Brooklyn, or I don't know. I just wanted to either live in Manhattan or farm. And we tried out the farm life, and I think that's when my wife got a phone call saying this house downstairs, actually back then, was going to be open for some reason. And we just had our first son, and we were like, I don't think she was really into it in the beginning because she grew up in Arlington.
Okay.
And I just thought it was the greatest idea because my son would be growing up with their, in-laws and grandparents.
Right.
And I was really, taken care of by my grandmother from my mother's side, and my grandfather. And those are things you can't really teach to kids with books or movies,
Right.
or stories.
Yeah.
You have to touch them. You have to be held by them. You have
Right.
to get their diapers done by them.
Right.
So I just thought it was a great idea to move to Massachusetts, Boston, Arlington. I went to college in the early mid 80s at the Museum School of Fine Arts.
Okay.
So I was familiar with the area.
Okay.
Not really on this side of the river because I was
Right.
because that was in Boston. I was
Right.
living in JP and stuff like that.
Right.
But one of my very, 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 very good friend from in the college day was living in Arlington here.
Okay.
And had kids that were older than my oldest one. But he was here, and I'm like, let's move to Boston. No big deal. We're gonna have the best babysitters.
Right.
Your mom and your dad.
Right.
So to me, it was a no-brainer, and I think it was the best thing.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Well,
Yeah.
it's good to hear.
Yeah.
Interesting way of getting back to Arlington.
Yeah.
For your wife, and getting back to the Boston
Yeah,
area.
yeah.
For you, so in hearing that part of how you came here,
I'm glad she wasn't from Toledo. Or I don't know. I shouldn't say bad things about some other place, but
No.
but you know, like if I have like gazillion of money, and somebody say, "Hey, where do you want to live?" I always, or my friend always gives me that question.
Right.
You know, and you know, and then let's say the question is like, "Oh, where would you like to live?" You know, if you have, you know, if you have all the money in the United States, you know. So you know, I always say either like Boston, New York, San Francisco,
Right.
Los Angeles.
Right.
I kind of like LA lately.
Oh.
Seattle's probably not a bad, you know. Like so, I don't know. I just like to be on the water side, I guess.
I got it.
So I'm very happy that she's from here, and you know, I don't think I regret anything like that about moving over here.
Right.
You know.
You mentioned that you were at the MFA
Mm-hmm.
for college,
Mm-hmm.
so it seems like you've been an artist for most of your life. Then.
I guess so. I mean, I tell when I taught like kids, you know, like over here or little, you know, wherever I had to do like demonstrations or stuff like that, and when they say, "Oh, you know, how long you been doing this?" or like that, you know, I usually say, "I've been drawing almost every day since fourth grade,"
Okay.
and
Okay.
that's you know, and then that's
Right.
what I did when I
Right.
was a kid. You know, you know, my parents gave me like some kind of like, you know, like, oh, oil painting art class, or you know, oh, ceramic course for 2 weeks. Did a little bit of that kind of stuff, but mainly I drew.
You drew, right?
You know,
right.
mainly I drew. But you know, I was fortunate enough to have a dad that would expose me to, you know, oh, let's go to this, you know, museum, or
Right.
we went to castles and zoos a lot, actually.
Right.
But
So where'd you grow up then?
I grew up in Tokyo. I grew
Okay.
up in Tokyo, and I went to like an international school in Japan, or in Tokyo. Very small, you know, close knit kind of, you know, school, boys' school.
Right.
And I've known some of the boys since we were in like not preschool, kindergarten.
Right.
You know, so that like those relationships are like
Yeah.
golden.
right.
Anyway, I've known them for years, and I think it was one of the best things that happened to me. And when we were graduating, you know, like high school,
Right.
64 kids, maybe 40 were going somewhere, not Japan.
Right.
You know, a lot of them were going to like LA or Hawaii.
Right.
But I didn't want to do that because that was more like high school part two,
Right.
you know. And, you know, there were people who, and there were kids who went to like, you know, other colleges, you know, like in Texas or Michigan or
Right.
New Hampshire or Pennsylvania, New York, wherever, you know. But not like these days, you know. It was kind of hard sometimes to get in touch with them because we really didn't know, like, hey, what's your school's name, you
Right.
know, and New Hampshire College of what, you know, like, you know, and no address, nothing, you know.
Right.
And like my buddy went to Rochester, and I don't think we got in touch till like October.
Right.
And I went to visit him with the bus like in December when it was snowing like heck.
Right.
So everybody was going somewhere. Most of them, most of them, or most of us were leaving Japan.
Right.
Some were going back to their country, you know, because it was like a school for diplomat kids.
I got you.
So they were going back to like, you know, Denmark
Right.
or Uganda or
Right.
you know, or Yugoslavia back then. You know, like
Yeah.
they were going back to their own country also.
Right. So there's a very multi-ethnic school. Then.
Oh, it was, yeah, it was. It was. That's one more thing. Like, you know, you can't really read that about and learn about it. You have to like really like rub your shoulders with them.
Right.
You know, when my son, you know, was going to the elementary school over here, kindergarten and elementary school. We are living on this side. I don't know if it's the north side or the south side, but we are on this side of Mass Ave, and Thompson Elementary School is right over there.
Right.
And we were checking the school out, and we just went into the cafeteria, and kids were, I think, having lunchtime, I guess. But it was very what do you call it? Ethnic, international.
Yeah.
Like they had, they're like Asian kids
Right.
and black kids and Indian kids and people from like everywhere. It seemed like
Right.
and I felt really like
Right.
almost home in a way.
Right.
It was maybe coincidence, but that we're living here. I was really happy that all my kids actually, 3 of them went to Thompson School, where everybody's all mixed up and
Right.
happy and fighting and
Yeah.
studying and doing all kinds of stuff
Right.
that they're supposed to do, I guess.
Mhm.
So so we all decided to go somewhere other than Japan, and I didn't want to go to the West Coast. I didn't get accepted to a lot of schools. I wasn't that academic
Right.
person, and I think I only had like about 3 choices: Florida, New York City, and Boston.
Well,
And-
MFA, I mean, that's no small potatoes. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it
Seems like a pretty hard
it was
school
one
to
of
get.
those schools that had open admission deadline, or
Yeah.
there's no deadline, so I don't know what that means.
Right.
And I was late for a lot of the stuff, and my friends were like, "You better send something," and
Right.
I was almost going to Florida, like Sarasota or something. They had
Yeah.
animation department,
Uh-huh.
and the day my dad gave me the cash to bring it to someplace, I went downstairs and I opened up our mailbox, and there was acceptance from the
MFA.
museum school. Yeah. So I'm like going, can I just use this money for this school instead of that other school?
Yeah.
And my dad was like, well, to me it doesn't make any difference. So go ahead.
Yeah.
And so that's why I came here.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So, well, let's.
That was 1982.
Okay. So, I saw on your website that you do have a section devoted to like daily art or painting a day or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And so it seems like you're still doing painting a day or
Pretty much. I draw digitally almost every day.
right.
On paper every now and then, but it's moving.
Yeah, but essentially the goal is to like do something every day.
Yeah, make something every day.
Yeah, but more so than just like, rather than saying I'm going to do some painting or some drawing every day, it seems like your goal is to like do a piece every day, to take something from beginning to end every day.
As much as I can.
Yeah.
As much as like. Oh, this is not even inked up. That could be done for the day,
okay.
if I
Yeah.
get something good out of it.
Right.
But that's and then it could be something else. Like I'm. This is kind of old, but like I'm making those figures.
Right.
Those are a lot of fun right now. There's no real home for it because I'm just making out of my gut,
Right.
which is usually what I go for.
Right.
I
Right.
try to work what's how do you say it? I'm trying to pop the zit that's right.
Okay.
I'm trying to, I think I just try to make what's trying to come out natural for me.
Right. I mean, so even if you're
that
not
makes
doing,
sense.
no, it does. And so even if you're not doing the painting a day
Yep.
now, there
Yep.
was a point where you were doing a painting or a drawing a day.
Oh
Probably.
yeah.
And what I'm trying to get at
Yep.
is rather than saying I'm going to do some painting or some drawing a day, and it may take you weeks, if not months, to finish a piece. It did seem like you wanted to take a piece from beginning to end within a day. Am I wrong about that?
No, I don't think so.
That's not what you want to try. So you're just trying to do some painting.
I was just trying to do some drawings or painting
a day
that looks done.
Also, you didn't want to have a complete painting a day.
Yeah, but I think I meant by like, I don't think I meant by painting like in a.
Or drawing. I mean,
that kind of painting.
Right. Yeah. But just let's say a drawing.
Yeah.
So you didn't want to have something completed every day.
Yeah, completed every day. Yeah.
And really, what I'm trying to get at then is so why is it that you wanted to go at that pace? I mean, why did you want to have something from beginning to end each day?
Ever since I got the digital pad,
yeah,
I could finish. I could draw like about, if time is there, I could almost do like about 50 a day. Or sometimes I might draw 80, but none of them are good.
Right.
But the first night I got the tablet to do the drawings digitally.
Yeah.
I think the first 3 nights I drew till like around 4.
Right.
I did about 6,000 drawings in about 4 days.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm serious.
Yeah.
And just to get used to it, I guess.
Right.
I just started drawing a lot of stuff digitally. Some are more complete than the other.
Right.
And then I was just posting it like on Facebook as soon as it was done.
Right.
Like maybe I'm being a little lazy lately, but it's not like I'm not doing anything else.
Right.
Like it's not like I'm doing something. Like I'm not doing it. So once the digital tablet came to my daily routine,
right,
I was pretty much posting something almost one day.
Right.
Well, or even like 5 a day, or maybe I might take a day or 2 break and then do about 10 the next day.
Right.
So it depends. Like when it comes like.
Right.
Like when I do the Kamishibai, when I did those Kamishibai drawings, they're pretty big drawings. They're about 20 by 24 maybe, a little bit bigger.
Uh-huh.
And I think every story has about 60 drawings or paintings.
Uh-huh.
And kids usually ask me like, how long did that take, or blah 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 blah. Some of them I struggled because it's a storyline or something. Right. But usually it didn't take more than 1 month.
Yeah.
It's like maybe more like 3 weeks, and you're talking 3 weeks like a mom's schedule or dad's schedule,
Right.
day, because I do a lot of the pickups and drop-offs for the kids. My wife's a potter and teaching at studios and colleges and stuff like that. So I'm lucky that I could do that. So a lot of times, like when my kids come back home, my production is finished.
Right.
So I try to get a lot of stuff done between when the kids are at school, kind of thing. So summer is horrible because they're home all day.
Right.
I hate vacations. No, I'm just kidding.
I understand. And what I was getting at is that I was wondering if you were forcing yourself to, do drawings or paintings at that rate in order to just keep you fresh or stimulate ideas. And so I was just wondering why.
It's better to. I think it's always better to do than not.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand. But really what I was getting at, why was that you were trying to do a piece a day, rather than saying I'm just doing some painting a day. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I wasn't that serious about it. Because it kind of came naturally or comes naturally to draw or doodle or express something out from my hands and soul. So it wasn't like any how do you say it, it wasn't like a grant project. Right. It was more like, oh yeah, I draw every day. So I think pretty much draw every day.
Right. And I guess another reason I
Yeah.
was asking is because there was when I worked for another company, we had this logo contest, and we were trying to come up with a logo for the company.
Yeah.
And I decided to participate in the contest, and I take public transportation a lot, and
Okay.
I would say to myself, okay, well, while you're going to work, you will draw something, and when you're coming back,
Yep.
you're going to draw something,
Yep.
but it has to be completely different. It just can't
Okay.
be the same thing that you were working on before.
So is it like
my
a-
whole goal was to try to complete something before that trip ended, and
Yep.
so the next day it'd be the same thing. It's like force yourself to do something different. So my quantum, my unit was like the trip to work and the trip back from work.
Right.
And so for me, that I felt was sparking creativity, but at the same time I was wondering if maybe I was not doing the right thing, because maybe it'd be better if I just continued working on an idea. So I decided to go at it, try to
Yeah.
win the contest by putting in
Oh,
front
it's
of
a
them.
contest too,
Yeah,
right,
by
right.
putting in front of them a whole
Right.
bunch of
Right,
ideas as
right.
opposed to one really good idea.
So is it was it a drawing contest?
It's a drawing contest with a logo. Yeah.
For a logo, and
Yeah.
then they pick the logo.
Yeah, so I was going for the creativity,
Yeah.
forcing the creativity by forcing myself to do something new each transit trip. And so I was wondering if you were using the painting today to just kind of spark your creativity, but it doesn't seem like that was it.
I know what you're. I think I know what you're saying. I think if you draw a day, you'll be better trained when you really have to draw on that day.
Right.
But sometimes overdoing it can be not that good. I think
Right.
sometimes you really have to step away from it and then rethink before you go back in the batter box.
Right.
I play Japanese chess a lot lately, and I'm not a 20-year-old who could probably play 8 games a day, and I got to step out of it sometimes completely in order to get back fresh to come up with better moves,
Right, yeah.
new moves, or more like mastering the correct openings.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are some, when I'm sketching, there are some exercise, not like I do triangles or squares or like that, but there's always some certain characters that I would just draw just to get started, you
Right.
know, and that's just nothing. It's
Right.
just a doodle of a face on this one,
Right.
but I think exercise is always good. You can't just get a baseball bat and get a good swing and get a good hit. I don't think so.
Right.
You gotta practice a little bit. If
Right.
you have a little BP before the game, I think it helps.
Right.
I think when my wife teaches ceramics, and I hear sometimes about students who are complaining or being frustrated by making something amazing or something, and this is his or her first time doing ceramics, and
Right.
I just usually go oh my gosh, there are old men, in Japan who's a national living treasure or whatever, but you can't just be that,
Right. Yeah.
because you take one semester
Right.
at some clay place.
Right.
You gotta work on it.
Right.
I think ceramics, or if you want to let's say throw a pot. I don't think you gotta throw a lot to be
Right.
really good.
Right.
And that goes for all the, I think, jobs in general.
Right.
My grandfather used to be a tire guy. He fixed tires, flat tires, and he was really fast, you know, and really fast also looking for that hole,
Right.
you know. But when I tried it when I was in college, man, oh my gosh, it took like a whole day for me,
right.
you know. And I'm like, how did he do it, you know? Okay, put the tube in the tub, you know, kind of thing. So
So it is that way with everything. I hear you.
yeah,
Right.
you know, so you know, it's a lot of practice, I
Right.
think, in anything in life,
Right.
you know, and once you get used to it, you just sort of like go with it, you know.
Right.
Like my mom always doesn't yell, but like always gets like, oh my gosh, kind of thing. Like when I'm making rice, I don't measure the rice and I don't measure the water, but I just go with,
Right.
because I do it every day.
Yeah. So you know how
You know.
what the levels look like.
I'm sure she's done it all every day too, but
Right.
she'd always go, I can't believe you don't measure.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, was it good yesterday?
Yeah.
You know, wasn't it fine? He goes, yeah, it was fine.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah. So going back to your website,
Mm-hmm.
because I mean, I think people who view this who are interested are going to go there.
Which I haven't
also.
updated in a long time, but yes.
Okay, all right.
But it's
well,
okay.
Well,
It's okay.
maybe this will give you
Yeah.
incentive to update.
Yeah.
But then again, it might make what we're talking about
Yeah.
outdated. But I saw that there was this huge like fox sculpture that you'd done or something.
Oh, the dog.
It was a dog.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so what was that all about? I think it looks massive.
It was like about, I think it was like about 6 feet and 6 feet.
Oh yeah. So it is
Maybe
this
even
big, so-
7 this way.
Yeah.
It was for the Arlington Public Art, I think.
Oh yeah.
But it was for the or it was at the Menominee Rock Park.
Okay.
You saw my dog, but I take him, or we take him, pretty much every day.
Yeah.
And I love the place. I love the people who I meet over there.
Uh-huh.
They're young kids and they're old folks too,
Yeah.
and I love all of them. And my dog, I'm very fortunate to take, you know, being able to take my dog over there.
Yeah.
Let him run around. So it was kind of, first it was kind of my way to say, thank you. This is, you know, thank you for, you know,
Make my life better.
exactly. And the dog was one of the two proposals. I wanted to do originally, one of the proposal was, there's an old man named Dave over there. I don't know even his last name, but he's Dave. Anyway, he's like the Yoda of the park. I asked him, hey, what's this tree called? You know,
Right.
he has the answer. You know, and I wanted to do a big statue of David, of Dave,
Oh, yeah.
and it was kind of like my joke, but I don't think they got the joke or they didn't like it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I ended up doing the Scotty, like a Scottish Terrier,
Yeah.
and usually Scottish Terriers are teeny, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And they get kind of bossed around by big dogs,
Right.
I mean, not that the big dogs always
Yeah, I know what you mean,
bug
yeah.
them around, but that's why I just wanted to make like a small guy real big.
Yeah. Right.
You know?
Yeah, like a big Chihuahua or something.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chihuahua would have been good.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
Jack Russell would have been good.
Yeah.
I just wanted a small guy to be
Yeah.
a big guy
Yeah, no, that's
for a
funny.
change.
Yeah. Right.
And so that's why I picked, you know, the Scotty. I wanted to have it relatively big.
Well, 6 feet by 7 feet.
Yeah, it was kind of a pain in the neck to. Well, what happened was like on our way there was great. I had my friend to go, you know, use the pickup truck and then drop it off over there. But on my way back, we didn't tie it good enough.
I'm not laughing.
We're driving back, you know, home, and then this car comes over right next to us and starts honking at us. And my friend Michael and I are like going, "What the heck is he honking at us about?" And the guy goes, "Something just flew away," you know. And I'm like, "Oh."
Yeah. Right.
And I look back and goes, "The dog's gone, Mike." You know. And it was like, we were like around at Walgreens over here in East Arlington,
Yeah.
and I think the dog was maybe about a block further, you
Right,
know,
yeah.
towards the center. And I'm like, going, oh my gosh, there's a bus that's trying to drive around it. So
That's funny.
only the head survived, and but the head died too. So you know, it was actually a perfect way for the dog to say goodbye.
Well,
I mean, a lot of the times, you know, from college days, you know, I would make like a big painting or something, and I always wondered, what the heck am I supposed to do with this after I make it?
right.
You know, my friend Morris makes all like these like welding, you know, welded artwork, and I've said to him like, Morris, what do you do with this heavy thing? You know. So I always wondered what people do with it, and I don't know what I would have done it with it, even if it came back safely. You know,
Right.
maybe I would have put it up in the porch, so everybody would go, "Oh, there's a dog up there,"
Yeah. Well,
which
yeah.
is fine. But so that was like the reason behind it, and I was really fortunate enough to be able to make it, and then I was very happy when I saw, you know, like kids like, you know, smiling at it,
Right.
or people going wow, or, you know, getting positive reaction. I even saw a group of like preschoolers from Belmont. I guess they made a special trip to come and see it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah, and that was kind of fun to, you know. Kids' reactions are usually pretty. I really what do you call it? Like, take it as a good gauge.
Yeah, they're pretty sincere.
You know,
Yeah.
and you know, like I love like amusement parks, and you know, going to like those huge like dinosaur that somebody made out of plaster or whatever,
Right.
and go like, oh my gosh, and looking at it, and you know, so maybe it was a little bit like that for that day for those kids,
Yeah. Cool.
you know.
Yeah.
So that was that,
Right.
and you know, if they are doing something like that again, you know,
Right.
that's good. I mean, I don't know if there was like that kind of art thingies going on, you know, back when I first moved back over here, you know, like art and outside art stuff, or public art stuff, or you know,
Well, let's talk
Yeah.
about that maybe a
Yeah.
little bit, because you say you don't know.
I don't know. I mean,
We-
I'm sure there was some kind of like art council or stuff like that, but
Well,
I
we-
don't really. I didn't even know about. I'm not really good at like, you know, looking through what competition is what. I usually just, you know, people who buy my artwork is usually through, what do you call it, friends, or
I got you.
you know, they see my website and then they contact me, or a lot of times it's the Facebook these days. I
Okay.
have a like a Facebook art website kind of
Right.
thing, or what do you call it, art section.
Okay.
That one's called Shun's Art, you know, and surprisingly, I get like offers from that,
Interesting. Yeah.
and I think that's from doing, posting drawings a day, or you know, every other day, that kind of stuff.
Right.
These days, I'm posting a lot about the Japanese, you know, the shogi thing, the chess thing.
The what?
It's called Shogi, Japanese chess.
Okay.
So I'm doing a lot of that right now, which is actually very fun for me. And you know, that's those three guys over there.
The green one and
The green one and the blue one and the black one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those guys are like the how do you call it? The superstars. You
I
know,
see.
they're like the Michael Jordans and Will Chamberlains or whatever they are. You know, those are the big guys.
Big guys in what context? I'm sorry.
Of
I missed-
shogi, it's a Japanese chess.
Oh, okay.
So you know, it's basically like the. Let's see. I have it right here.
Well,
It's basically like Western chess, but you know, like this is a bishop. It's the same thing as bishop. It goes this way, you know. But a lot of the, you know, ones. This is a rook. This is the same thing as a
yeah.
rook.
So the rules are the same.
Mainly, I mean, the main reason is to checkmate the king.
Right.
So that's the same. I think. Although I think the Western chess there's a lot more draws.
Okay.
There's hardly any draws in the Japanese chess. Yes, there are sometimes, and yes, there are stalemates. Kings move the same way, one at each space. There's a equivalent of a knight, but this they only go one way. I mean, up. They could only move forward. They
it.
can't go 8 ways.
Right. I got it.
So, but there are other things, like if I take a piece from you, I could use it to at my turn as this way, because it's faced this way in the beginning, and I'm facing this way.
I got it.
So if I take your piece, this is
Right.
my piece, and it's the same piece, it's the same value.
Right.
The value doesn't change,
Right.
but I could put it to wherever I want it.
Yeah. Right.
Of course, there are legal places and illegal
Right,
places
right.
you can move or not,
Right.
but that's another story.
Well, that explains why
Yeah.
there are fewer draws, because when you take a piece, you get to have more pieces. I mean,
Well, the Western chess, you take piece and that's done.
it's done, right?
Yeah.
But when you take a piece in Japanese
Yeah.
chess,
So-
it becomes part of your army, for lack of a better.
Yeah. So
phrase,
so
yeah.
I was writing a little article on this Shogi Mania Facebook thing that I've been doing, and I just posted up about this guy Masuda, who was summoned to the American GHQ during American occupancy in Japan, and that the U.S. Was looking through a lot of the Bushido stuff, like Kendo, Judo, Karate, Shogi, Go, all one-on-one tactical sports.
Right.
And they wanted to what's his name? Whitney is his name. The number 2 guy from MacArthur summoned one Japanese pro, and says, "Hey, you gotta get your shogi out of your country," And the guy goes, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "Why?" And the American guy goes, "Well, you take your piece and you use it as slaves."
Yeah.
And he says, no. Actually, we take our piece and we give them a job. You guys take your piece and they're dead. After our game is over, we put them back in and they're all equals. They're all same.
Yeah.
Your chess, you put it back, you're still black and white. Just like in your country. And he also said, your king is always hidden and making the queen do all the work. That's not fair, kind of thing. So I think Whitney at that point says, okay,
That's
you
funny.
could keep it, kind of thing. It was kind of a.
That's history for me.
Yeah.
Oh, I believe you. It's just
Yeah.
history to me. So
Yeah.
One thing I love about these conversations is that I just never know what I'm going to learn. And so yeah. Cool. Okay. So then back to these guys. So,
Yeah.
So then how do they relate? I'm sorry, I'm being a little dense here.
That's
So,
all right.
yeah.
Here, let me see. Let me bring it over. Somebody's doing something, or it's my alarm. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna do this because you know what? It's kind of cool because this is a live interview. Here we go. So okay. So I make things out of cardboard, a lot, right? So these are some of the stuff I make out of the cardboard. I was like making all these houses I think when we were on vacation or something, and I came back from vacation. I made a lot of houses that I saw. But nowadays, I am making. These guys are so good.
He's very proud of them.
I am. I love them, actually. So they're just there are how do you call it? Like there's like about 150 professionals, tournament professionals, and only 10 of them are in this group called the A group, and that's the top 10 in Japan and probably the whole world.
Wait, tournament professional what?
Tournament. They play tournaments. They have their own association, and they play tournaments for prize and for pride.
But what are they playing?
They play this.
What you mean, making things?
No, these so these guys, I made these guys like as a doll or whatever sculpture.
Yeah.
They are a professional shogi players.
Oh, shogi players.
Yes,
I get it.
So
I'm sorry.
this is a guy called Akira Watanabe, who's like one of the best players.
I got you.
You know, and I don't know what everybody will think about it, but it was very precious for me.
So okay. So just to make sure I'm getting. So
Yep.
these are dolls made to look like the guys that play these, or are these imaginary people?
They are supposed to be the people that really exist.
Right. So if
And I'm
someone saw
trying
it,
to-
they would
I'm
say,
tr-
"Oh, that's me."
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
got it. Okay, all right,
exactly.
all right,
And you
all
know,
right.
some of them are a lot alike than the other, but I try my best.
Right.
This guy always had this kind of hairstyle.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
And you know, there's some. I don't know. I'm basically a fan and a player, I guess. And
right.
since I'm an artist,
Right.
I was like, well, what can I do to make it more, you know,
Right.
just like in the monotony rock
Yeah,
place.
I
So
got
what
you,
can
yeah.
I do for you,
Yeah,
you know?
I got you. Well, you know, if you when you're done with this, you might want to make some of the members of the board of selectmen in Arlington.
Oh, sure.
I'm sure they get a kick out of it, especially like Kevin Greeley. Yeah, he'd love one of those. I mean, yeah, sure.
So I'm a board member of the Fox Library.
Yeah.
And I did all that Fox, paintings
Right.
outside. And one of my dear friend used to be a selectman, Jack Hurd.
Okay. Yeah.
And I remember when he was running, I don't know which term
Yeah.
but I did one of those banners for him outside,
right.
you know, for his election
yeah.
campaign.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was, you know, the day of or the
Right.
day before or even a week
Yeah.
before. But, you know, when people have like a campaign or some kind of town voting thing,
Right.
you know, I always say to them, if I have a chance to say it,
Right.
I just say, I could only do what I can do. Like I can't call people and say,
Right, yeah.
can you vote for him or
Yeah,
her,
right.
or which side are you on, kind
Yeah,
of thing,
right.
by knocking the door. I'm
Right.
not good at that, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
But I'll do a painting of Jack any day, you know,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I love him, and he does a lot. He did a lot of things for the
Right.
town, and
Yeah.
you know, so.
Yeah.
Just like that, you know, just so it's just like this, you know,
Right.
it's from my heart.
Yeah. Definitely.
It's like, what am I gonna, you know, who's gonna buy this, you know?
So I can't help but notice when you had the dolls up there. Is that the right thing to call them dolls?
Which ones?
Well, these guys. Or is it right to call these guys dolls?
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when they were up
Figurines
there,
or dolls? Yeah.
Is that Rocky Bullwinkle? Yeah,
Oh, you know, I sold one, and I wanted another one,
all right.
so I made another one.
But what is it though?
What
I
is
mean,
it? It's supposed to be like a moose or a deer.
But it's not like Rocky. I mean,
No, I wasn't thinking about it at all.
I guess Rocky was a squirrel, so.
So
what was-
Bullwinkle.
Bullwinkle.
Yeah,
it's not
yeah,
Bullwinkle,
yeah.
huh?
No.
Well,
One of the funny story is that I found a real one,
Yeah.
a real moose, or a deer, or
Yeah.
I don't know which one, but I found a real one long time ago when
Yeah.
I was single in New York City, and I brought it back home and I washed it, right, and you know, washing it in the tub, and my dog comes over and he's screaming like hell because like there's a dead moose head coming out of the bathtub. And so I hang it. So
Yeah.
I had one, a
Yeah,
real
real-
one, long
wow,
time ago.
wow.
And when my wife moved in with me at that same apartment, that was the first thing I had to get rid of.
Yeah.
Which was okay because somebody took it right away.
Right,
As
yeah.
soon as I put it out in the trash, it was gone.
Yeah.
Which is something like that. Living out here is when I put something out there, it's gone.
Yeah, I can believe that.
Yeah.
You know, but
Yeah.
I haven't picked up anything
Yeah.
yet, but I think it's because
Yeah.
I just didn't pass by at the right time.
Yeah.
So.
So yeah, I was like working at a summer job at a moving company once, And there was a guy who could make almost anything out of cardboard.
Huh.
Meaning, that was for him for work. So like,
Right.
if you had a vintage, like a guitar or something,
Right.
but this guy didn't have a case for it,
Right.
he would make a super box with like cardboards,
even
though they don't make cardboards, let's say, for the guitar.
Right.
And I like making things out of nothing.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if that's recycling art or what, but like.
Well, it's kind of like the real creation process.
I guess so. Yeah.
Well, gonna do a little bit of stream of consciousness here because you said he liked making guitars out of cardboard. I'm gonna swing around over here. And
yeah.
I see these guitars on.
Come check it out. I'm gonna take this down. There you go.
So, you made these?
Yeah, because you know what?
And they're made out of cardboard.
I don't know how to play, so I thought I better make one.
But they're made out of cardboard, right?
Huh? This is all cardboard, yeah.
Were you inspired by the guy who could make stuff out of cardboard, or were you inspired by the guy who could make stuff out of cardboard, or did you just did it because
I was inspired by the way he made like boxes out of, like irregular box for irregular moving things, because he was
All right.
So I learned that part from him.
Yeah.
But so let's say I adapted his little hints.
Right.
There's cardboards everywhere.
Yeah.
Some cardboards are obviously better than the other,
Right.
or stronger than the other.
Right.
I don't know. It's relatively cheap material, I think.
Yeah, especially if you find it out on the street. Yeah, so
yeah.
what was up there that you put down, though? That's another element
This
that I
one?
saw on your website, right? I mean, this is
This is like, if you YouTube like Shunsuke Yamaguchi, I think it'll show up. This is called Kamishibai. Kamishibai is, kami is paper in Japanese, and shibai is theater.
Okay.
And in real life, like maybe, I think when I was like around 6, let's say, that might have been the tail end of the whole Kamishibai era.
Okay.
They were really hot, like from, let me say, from the late 20s, and basically TV killed it.
Okay.
Because TV is moving pictures, right?
Right.
So Kamishibai is basically, guy going around from one playground to another.
Right.
And with this bicycle, and behind the bicycle, these little theaters, much smaller than this, are attached to the bicycle.
Okay.
And underneath the theater, there was like 3 or 4 drawers that was full of candies. And they would sell these candies to kids for like, pennies.
Right.
And the kids who pay for the candy could sit right there,
Right.
ringside seats, And the kids who didn't pay, like me,
Yeah.
were watching it from the jungle gym.
Yeah.
And they would they would be, like a street theater, street artist. What do
Okay.
I don't
Street
know,
theater,
these
yeah.
streets, is that what you
Yeah,
call it?
street theater.
There's all these names now,
Yeah.
everybody's an artist, so street art people. So anyway, they would go around town and like I said, from one playground to another, like on a Sunday usually. And they would do stories, tell stories, like and it could be anything from folk story to like a fake Batman, like
Yeah.
Japanese fake Batman kind of thing, to I think like in the 40s they were actually giving out news, like what's going on during
Right.
during the war kind of thing.
Right.
Like they would have like Japanese soldiers
Right.
like saving something,
Right.
somebody, whether if it's true or not.
Right, yeah, I got it.
Like a propaganda stuff.
Right.
It was a way to communicate to like towns that are deeper in.
Right.
you know what I mean?
Like more rural places.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like this one is the beginning of for like the this one called Momotaro, which is Peach Boy, and I just only threw in a couple, but this is like in the beginning, as I go dong, dong, like they're walking.
Cool.
And then, this is like my second story, but I was getting better at it, every time I made it.
Yeah.
So like I would, I would add like a little like a, is it stuck today?
Kind of reminds me of the cover of a King Crimson.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there is one like that. Is that King Crimson? I know which one you're talking about, I think.
Yeah. 21st century ski foot, man.
Sorry.
Oh, no problem.
I just took it out of the box. But basically, it does this.
Oh, cool.
It goes like,
neat.
Which town am I gonna burn
Yeah.
and take hostage, or stuff like that. So I was starting to learn a little tricks here and there, using, simple, very simple, analog, whatever you call it, simple tricks.
Right.
Just cutouts.
Right.
And then I do this maybe like about 2 or 3, depends. Like at Hardy School or Stratton School.
Right.
Robbins Library, Fox Library.
Neat.
I'll be doing a seminar at, I was saying to you, University of Cincinnati next year.
Okay.
I don't know what I'm gonna say, but we're gonna be doing several stories and how I came to do it and
Right.
where it's going now. I've seen new Kamishibai people doing it all like on iPads now. So they would have a story on an iPad
Right.
and they just go boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Everybody has to evolve some way.
Yeah.
So, people are doing it different ways.
Yeah.
There's a woman I think in Amsterdam, and she does it kind of a funky way too by using rear projection. And I have right now I have a saxophone and a flute player.
Right.
I used to have a pianist that would come along and play the piano while I'm doing the storytelling.
Right.
Had a violinist once. So, it's just like a theater.
Right.
And I think the live musician or live music is always, it always helps me. And I think it's always good for the kids to see not just the live performance and the artwork, but, like music that's coming out from real instrument.
Right.
Wow. Yeah. So I don't know. This was, I guess it's a really Japanesey thing again, huh? Just like the shogi and this, and but I don't know. I don't know what else. So
Well,
I just do what I know.
Yeah. Right. Well, it's what you know. It's very interesting, and it's part of what adds to the diverse fabric that makes Arlington, I think, such a wonderful place.
Yeah.
To be and to do art. So, thank you very, very much.
You're welcome.
This has been a delight. It really has been. So, take care.
All right. Thank you.